welcome to the program City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. City Pulse is a program brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, a town planning association recognized in Nigeria and globally. I am Phoebe Onwabuije. On today's program, we'll be discussing Nigeria at 64, independence and national development. I will be having joining me on the discussion the national president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, in person of town planner Nathaniel Atebije, who will be joining me in the studio right after this break. Please stay with us.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. The program is City Pulse on Housing TV Africa, and in case you're just joining us, we're discussing Nigeria at 64, independence and national development. I have with me in the studio the national president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, in person of town planner Nathaniel Atebije. You're welcome.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being here again with you in the studio.
I would say that I'm really honored to have the national president, because I've been having other people, but having you here in the studio is just an honor. You're welcome, sir.
Thanks so very much.
So today's discussion is on Nigeria at 64. We are looking at independence and national developments, all the achievements and everything that has to do with the nation's independence. So let's begin. As a high-profile Nigerian, what does independence mean to you?
Well, thank you very much. Independence, by the literal interpretation of that word, means that you can do quite a lot of things by yourself, on your own, with your resources. That is what independence should be. But what can we say of Nigeria today? After 64 years, living the colonial masters, or having freedom from colonial rule, what are the things that we are independent of? Can we talk about administration? Can we talk about politics? Can we talk about manufacturing? Can we talk about the quality of our human settlements? Now, when we put all these things together, really, and we are factual and we are truthful to ourselves, we can assure ourselves that indeed we have no independence. We have not come of age. We have not demonstrated the fact that we are living free from slavery. We have not demonstrated that we can do things on our own and by ourselves. So it's really not a very pleasant thing that we tell ourselves that we have 64 years of independence, and yet ordinary matches we have not been able to produce in Nigeria. We cannot say we are independent when our cities, our villages, our rural places are just pockets of slums. Even the places that seem to have some form of plants in the cities, because the plants have been abused, because they have not been implemented, they are just glorified slums. I think it is a thing for us to sit down, lament, and redefine what we call independence. And perhaps we'll have a clue to what independence is, and Nigeria will begin to practice it, by doing.
Well, I think that is actually a worrisome situation, because, yeah, we celebrated our 64th birthday, and yes, so many celebrations are coming up, but are these celebrations actually worth it? Do we actually need to celebrate? Because most citizens of Nigeria are out there suffering. So what are the issues? Why is it that Nigeria as a developing country cannot actually be independent and be able to stand on its own?
Now, to be independent is a decision. It is for the nation to take a decision that we want to be independent. And when you want to be independent, you have to fortify yourselves, against your predators. Now, it means that you have to build your capacity. Capacity in terms of knowledge, in terms of, activities, in terms of production, in terms of equipment. Now, Nigeria cannot boast of all these things. We don't have any reason to celebrate. If at all we want to celebrate, it should be a celebration of lamentations. It's a celebration of lamentations. What are the things that we have got? Now, I am a town planner. Let me talk from the planning perspective. That if for all these years, yes, thank God that some places were giving some semblance of planning because some consultants, majorly foreign consultants were involved, were engaged to produce plans for sections of towns and cities and some rural areas. But what is a plan when it is not, when there is no political will to implement it? There is no political will, there is no cash backing, you don't have the manpower to be able to do these things. And then, so they just lie down on the shelves in the offices of civil servants. In fact, painfully, I had a very painful experience some years ago.
Okay.
We were called to come and review the master plans of some towns. And then we wanted the earlier plan that was done. Unfortunately, when we got, in the shelf of the director of planning in that state, it appeared as if that was the first time in years that he was ever opening that storehouse. And many of them were already eaten by termites.
Interesting.
I will not mention the name of the state. About 3 years ago, we went to one state. Again, we were talking about, they were talking to me about the issue of development control in that state. And I told them, number one, you don't even have the law that permits you to do development control in this place. You don't have the law. And so, if you are now complaining of going to carry out some enforcement and you are injured, you go to court, you will not win because you don't have any law backing you. So I told them that you are living by chance. Therefore, except there is a plan, except there is a law, that authorizes you to be able to use that plan to control development, then don't go out because you do it at the peril of your life.
So is it that there is no law or they do not abide the law?
Now, we have the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law, which is for the whole nation, and which every state is expected to domesticate to meet your own local conditions. And this state has not done that. It has not done that. And then the town itself does not have an operative master plan that will be used to control development. So what is the basis? So when you go out, anybody will ask you, what instrument do you have to be able to control development in this place? So if you go that place and then you are injured, you go and treat yourself. Nobody will be held responsible for you. So this is the problem we have. In that place, they said they commissioned some consultants to do master plan for them so many years ago, and the draft master plan that was done, even the general manager of the urban development board of that state didn't know where the copy was. It was the general manager controlling development, and he didn't even know where the draft copy was.
So who is supposed to know if he doesn't know?
It was only one zealous young man that knew where it was. Not until he came. Nobody knew where it was. And then we collected it. I brought it to Abuja here and did 4 copies for them. Let me tell you that these 4 copies that I did for them, I think at most, it didn't cost me more than 30,000. But yet, and then I took and gave them back so that you have something that will even guide you.
Hope they had to pay for it because it's very important.
Well, it's my It's my own social responsibility to the people, at least to know that there is a draft plan, although not even fully approved. There's something that should guide the development and the control of development in that place, so that there could be sanity in development. But this is how, sometimes we try to make states to create plans for settlements. But unfortunately, we also have a situation in which the people who should control these developments are not equipped. They are not equipped, one, emotionally or educationally to do it. And in some places, when we talk about capacity, government is so used to putting square pegs in round holes.
Okay.
Because the appointments are done by who knows who.
Nepotism.
That is it. Nepotism is one side. And there are so many sentiments that are around appointment of people. Even in the Federal Capital Territory here, you get a lawyer, who now goes to be in charge of controlling of development. Are we going? Is it a court matter? So these are the problems we have, and it's only when you put. I mean, can I go today as a town planner and become a judge in a court?
That's not possible.
I'm not equipped for that. Then how should a lawyer be in charge of planning matters? How can he be in charge of controlling development? He doesn't know how this thing was conceived. He doesn't know the process of implementation. Yes, when there are litigations, we can come to court and then they will adjudicate. But for God's sake, when it is for the process of, controlling development, I was taught how to do it. And by experience, I have, gathered a lot of information. And I know how to do it seamlessly, So these are the challenges we have.
So over the past 64 years, what has NITP contributed to the growth of the nation?
Like I have always said, NITP is an NGO, it's an association. And the strength of our association is in advocacy.
Okay.
We enlighten people, we persuade people, so that they will do what is right in managing our physical environment, starting with planning. And so when we have been talking to government that they should please embrace planning, and some of them have heeded to us and they have embraced planning. But and in this process, they have commissioned a good number of plans, but there are quite a lot that we have to do. And like I've always said, during the regime of the military, because military is an organized institution, and so they believe in planned action, and you give it to the military. When we had the military government, quite a lot of master plans for towns and cities and villages were commissioned, and they did a lot. That since they left, just a few of those in the political class that could understand the essence of planning, they are the ones that have tried to embrace. And so we have been talking to them, to those in the political class, that look, even all your campaign promises, they cannot materialize because
without a plan.
Without a plan, because every plan is on the land. And if you do not know what you want to do on the land, or you just, okay, if you know what you want to do, and you do not know where to do it, it's confusion.
It is.
So that is one of the things we also have, Yes, quite some significant activities have come up through our advocacies, but quite a lot still needs to be done.
Okay. On that note, we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we will continue the discussion. The topic is Nigeria at 64, Independence and National Development. See you after the break.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the program is City Pulse on Housing TV Africa, and we are discussing Nigeria at 64, independence and national development. I have with me in the studio the national president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner Nathaniel Atebije. Moving on, do you think Nigeria has gained independence, especially judging from its economic and political relationship with other nations?
Well, let us say that it has some relative independence. Why do I say relative? Because we have our own men, leading us now. We are not purely under the dictates of foreign forces, but we are still not free. So this is the problem. We have independence, so to say, but we are not free. We are not free because we still depend on countries outside Nigeria. Ordinary milk. Forget about the number of cows that we have in Nigeria, but ordinary milk is not produced in Nigeria. Look at the wood we have in Nigeria, in the rainforest of the southern Nigeria. Yet we cannot produce ordinary matches, even toothpicks.
Made in China, I've seen.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
So where is the freedom? Okay, look at even in our own fields. Many times when some governors are convinced to make plans for the settlements within their state, they go and look for foreigners to come and do master plans for their towns. But like we have in an adage in my dialect that the stranger does not know the backyard. The white man or the expatriate you are bringing from another country to come and make plans for you, he doesn't understand the culture, the way of living of your people. And the whole essence of planning is to blend your social life with your environmental life so that they are compatible enough to give you a livable living space, a sustainable living space. That is what planning tries to do. But when you bring somebody who does not know, and all he knows is that he knows yes, space standards, but what they enjoy in their own country might be distasteful to us in Nigeria. And we have protested this thing several times. Many of them would say, particularly when you talk to some governors, they go to engage people from outside the country because they say those people are more experienced. And one of the questions we have always tried to ask them is that, okay, who among you, campaigned to become a governor? What experience did you have as a governor before you came into this office?
Into the office.
So this is it. They give flimsy, weak excuses for engaging, people who are non-competent. But for God's sake, it's not a matter of competence. Many times we read it to be because of the money they want to take offshore.
Okay.
Yes, that is the truth. We are Nigerians. We understand Nigeria. We were born and brought up here. We were trained in this place. We know the things that our people need. We know the type of environment that they want to live in.
Yes.
But the governor will now go and give master plan for his capital city or other hierarchies of settlements to somebody who is from Spain, from UK, from America, and then they'll just come and draw anything for you. They'll be very well painted, good English and all that stuff, and we clap hands for them, but to implement it becomes a difficult thing. So we want to talk to our governors, our policymakers, chief executives, that if we want to demonstrate our independence, let us engage Nigerians who have come of age and they are competent to be able to practice. And then we'll have what we want. And I'm sure Nigeria becomes a better place when we use indigenous manpower in doing some of these things.
Okay, let's bring it down to the housing sector. How has the housing sector grown? And we see that irrespective of so many housing projects that are on ground, so many millions of Nigerians are still homeless. What are the reasons for this situation?
The problem we have with housing situation is that our reactions are simply spontaneous. They are not coordinated, they are not organized. They have become issues of political interest rather than issues of the needs of the people. They talk about figures without any basis. We are going to build 10,000 houses in each state of the Federation, meaning what? Is that the need of each of the states of the Federation? And then the type of materials that you want to use in building these houses, you say you want to make them affordable, but those materials are not from Nigeria, and then how can they be affordable? I mean, you can imagine, you now want to build a one-bedroom house for 25 million. Who is able to afford it? Even a level 8, level 9, level 10 staff in government who is on salary cannot get it. And how many people are in government? How can the man of the street, have this? The thing is that our housing policies are lopsided. They are not tailored, to help Nigerians to have reasonable accommodation for themselves. So we need to work on our housing policy and to make sure that we know the exact needs of our people. We need to also have data in terms of what is needed where. If you build 10,000 houses in Lagos today, where you have more than millions, maybe 8 million people who need homes. And then you go and give 10 million houses to another state where they even have empty houses that are roaming about that they don't have anybody to occupy. So who is losing? What is the meaning of that? That is why there are some low-cost houses that have been done across the country. So look at during the time of Shagari, some of those low-cost houses are there up to today. And their tenants are rodents. Rodents are the ones living in that place. So
no human beings, it's just unoccupied.
Why? Because when these things were being conceived, there was no thought about where are we going to locate it? What are the needs of the people?
No planning.
How many people need it? There was no planning. And we are still doing the same thing. The federal government in their renewed hope homes or houses recently, the one that was launched in Abuja here, painfully, planners were not even involved. I challenge them, let them bring it up and let me see the planner who was involved. There was no approval from development control. And then, how can you be sure that tomorrow it is not going to be a slum? The same thing was done in Abia, the same thing was done in several states. And then we go on the air to say that this is what is happening. But when a good thing is done through a wrong way,
there's no good results.
Negative or positive, we only give you a negative answer.
Yes.
And that is why we'll have these things today, and the hopes of the people are rather dashed. It's painful. We want the federal government, possibly they should obey the laws that they enacted. If the law says that for you to have a reasonable development, you must have approval from development control. This must be conceived, and it must be filtered through a process where professionals are engaged in reviewing. Let it be done. There is no need for us to rush to do something because we want to make a name politically. And then at the end of the day, it will be the problem for the next generation. So the good things we think we are doing today, if they are not done through the proper channel, it is the evil that we are leaving for the next generation. That is what we see in the housing sector, particularly when we see government intervention. Good thoughts, good ideas, but they are not done through the proper way.
They are not done properly.
Therefore, we are not getting good results.
Okay, sir, in all of these problems, what strategic solutions could you prefer to the government as the national president of the NITP?
Well, the basic thing is that for anything that we want to do, even God in his own might, God who knows everything, before God does anything, he plans it. God does not do anything without a plan. And so also, we as humans, we shouldn't do anything without a plan. The first thing to do in any venture that must see the light of the day is to plan. Let government embark on planning. We have always said that this land which we have is a very finite resource. And it is the basis of human existence. The land is fixed, people are growing in population, demands are increasing, interests are diverse. And because of that, it is important for us to make sure that this land is planned. We have always said that in I think the first census I really heard of was the one of 1963. And as at that time, they said Nigeria had a population of about 55.6 million people. Today we are talking about over 200 million people. And the size of Nigerian land has increased?
It hasn't.
Rather, it has even decreased because part of Nigeria was taken by Bakassi, by the judgment of the International Court in Hague. Now, so we have lost part of Nigerian land, but the population
keeps increasing.
The population is increasing. That means the demand for food is increasing, demand for agriculture is increasing, demand for housing is increasing, and the land which we have is not increasing. And so the only way for us to manage this land efficiently, equitably, is for us to plan the land. So that's the number one thing that must be done. After that, we can appropriately locate our industries. We can locate our commercial development. We can have our houses. And all these things will blend together. And that is when we now create the engines of growth. Our cities are the engines of growth. They are the centers of innovation. It is only after we have planned the town that we give that engine life to run the nation. And then everybody will enjoy it. Those in the political class will enjoy it. The people who are in various businesses will enjoy it. Nigeria will indeed grow. Then we can talk of independence.
Okay, sir. For a wrap-up, we would like to have your goodwill message to Nigerians as the nation has celebrated 64 years.
Nigeria has come of age. We thank God that God has kept us together all these years without crisis. Therefore, greater are the strides of Nigeria and Nigerians. I wish Nigeria many more progresses in development so that our freedom and independence can really be freedom and independence indeed.
Okay, thank you very much, Town Planner Nathaniel Atebije. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's a wrap-up on today's edition of City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Housing TV Africa. Don't forget to follow all our social media platforms at Housing TV Africa. Also remember to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play and App Store to stay connected. I am Phoebe Onwabwije. Thanks for watching and bye for now.